Are you going to share your screen? Should you be sharing your screen?
You should have said that sooner. I would have done that sooner. See, now you've interrupted the whole smooth transition to live. Damn it. Let me go ahead and share that for you. That's okay. People still got their music. They're happy. I need to share OBS. There you go. Start sharing. There you go. You should have that now. Okay, this one's for you, John. I spent time figuring out how to do this just for you.
Well, wait. Do we need to start recording? Like, we haven't done local recordings or
PHP Ugly Podcast.
You're absolutely right. We haven't. Can you hear that?
This is a podcast about the joys and challenges of being a professional PHP developer. Your hosts are three passionate
Yes, we should start recording. Let me send you a Zencaster link to you guys. Wow. When I said, "Are you guys ready?" you should have said, "Hey, we haven't done this stuff. Don't go live yet." Yeah, that would have been.
Well, I'm ready to do that stuff.
That would have been helpful, but you know. Hey, whatever. There, you guys go there. You know, I was so excited to share my my new setup with John. He's always asking, and all right, we'll get it going again.
Well, I mean, I appreciate it.
Tell me when you're ready to start recording local.
I'm ready.
Ready whenever.
Okay, start recording local. 3, 2, 1, go. Caster is a go. Clap check. 3, 2, 1. Wow, your video is super lagged out, Thomas.
Right?
Yeah.
It was.
I thought you were being funny and not clapping. Right.
Yeah.
No.
You're fine.
You're okay.
You're good
okay now. All right.
You were mid clap and you kind of paused right there.
So I'm not sure how. Oh, I know how I can do this. Here we go. Right, now I should be able to hear it. Okay, so let me do the intro music again for John, so his life is nice and balanced.
You are listening to the PHP Ugly Podcast. And despite what the title may lead you to believe, this is a podcast about the joys and challenges of being a professional PHP developer. Your hosts are three passionate developers who make a living coding and who live stream every week to discuss coding, projects, work, tech, and running a business. And now, here are your hosts, Eric Van Johnson, John Congdon, and Tom Rideout.
I just like hearing my name.
We also discussed Doom.
Yeah, I'm not even going to say you're listening to episode 189 because, you know, it's not like I had a whole intro to go through or anything like that. You know, we'll just start talking. Sure, I'm Eric.
So do you want the good news or the bad news?
Let's go. There's no
good news. There's no good news.
Is that the bad news?
You said you ready. You said you ready to start local. I said yes, and I turned on the recorder block, but I didn't hit the button in the bottom left of Audio Hijack.
We're fine.
So you don't have my clap check there.
We're fine. We'll deal with that. Oh my goodness.
When you're not here for 2 weeks, things just fall apart.
That's it, man. Episode 199. 199 problems. And, well, you know, there's the pandemic. That's a problem. There's systemic racism.
There's the show. That's
an issue. We still have WordPress as part of the PHP. I guess that could be considered a problem. But yeah. No, the show's not a problem. The show's good to go. We're here.
So this is our last episode ever, huh?
No.
I was thinking next week would be, but sure, this could be it.
You guys are mean.
How has everybody been doing? Everybody good? Everybody rounded? What's up, man? What's been going on? We had a week off, and dude, I can't tell you the last time I've had a week off where I've done no recording of any podcast. Now I'm paying for it this week. I'm having to record 3 podcasts in the week, but last week I had no podcast, no nothing, and it was hard to complain about it. It was nice.
Yeah, last week was good. I took a couple days to do a nice long weekend with the family and really enjoyed that. So I like taking the time off. I was expecting you two to record without me, but you didn't, so whatever.
Did you guys go somewhere? I mean, is this like a pandemic stay-at-home thing, or?
It was a pandemic rent a house in Palm Springs thing.
Oh,
So
nice.
we, there's a resort that we usually really like going to in Palm Springs that has a lazy river, a really big pool, and it's just a nice place to go. But with everything going on, you don't want to stay in a hotel or anything. So we just rented a house, had a pool. We were in the pool from like 7 a.m. to 8 or 9 p.m. every night, and it was fantastic.
I tell you what, it's been so hot here in Southern California. I don't boast about it a lot because I do have some internal guilt, but I have been loving my pool here at the house. I have been spending so much time in my pool here. It's ridiculous, and I am so grateful I have it.
Yeah, you say it's been hot here in the 80s, right?
90s. It
Where
was 90s last week.
oh, it's 90s in Poway?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I was in the desert, so it was like 110, but
Yeah.
I'm used to where I'm at. It like today it was mid 70s. I think last week it was upper 80s.
Yeah, and forget about that whole dry heat thing. Heat is heat, man. I tell you what. I go out to Arizona enough. I can't stand it during the summertime. I don't know how people live out there.
Oh man, my sound is not in sync with the video. I don't know
According to
what to do about
chat,
that.
Yeah, there's
yeah,
literally nothing you can do about
yeah,
that.
chat. Just it's typically better to just close your eyes when you watch us. It's just it helps with the experience. Trust me. Oh, I've had a fun week. Oh, wait, we lost John. Oh, he's
No,
back.
I was trying something to see if it would resync.
Oh. I've had a fun week. I've been doing completely inappropriate things with Laravel Nova and enjoying every moment of it. I mean, it's I can't even.
What do you mean? So I know Nova as just a kind of like a CRUD builder for you. It builds the interface.
Yeah.
What have you been doing that?
Yeah. That's how I've always been using it. And then another developer, I actually stumbled upon it, and it's one of those situations where if I read the documentation, I would have probably had known this, but we had
As a Vim user,
we had on another project implementing Nova. And then the developers were putting guards around user models, what they can see, what they can't see, and notice that those guards were being applied to Nova as well, which caused a little confusion for us at first. Again, me historically using Nova in a very basic CRUD implementation, I was surprised to see that, and it really opened my eyes to some things I had historically been saying, nah, I wouldn't use Nova for that. Like I never considered using Nova as an actual interface for users to log into. Like Nova to me had always been like this secret back-end administration interface for the client to have and for us to have, but never for users to use. And with that, I'm like, oh, you know what? With scopes and things like that being applied, maybe I'll use it. But I'm using it on another project as well, and I'm limited what I can talk about. But dude, man, Laravel Nova got off its Greyhound bus here in San Diego, and I swooped in. It's going to need years of therapy and won't be able to look Taylor Otwell in the eyes for longer than that. What I've done with Nova has just been shameful, and I've been enjoying it. I came across, I realized you can manipulate, like how it's outputting things, and you can attach actions to stuff. So a good example is I had a situation where the client said, okay, when we do this in Nova, I need it to do a bunch of other things. It needs to attach payment methods to it and all stuff that's on other tables. And again, my very recursive knowledge of Nova, I'm like, okay, I'm not sure how I would do that in Nova. Like you're saying, once you approve a person, you want to attach a bunch of stuff to their account, but I don't know if I can just do that with just one approval button in Nova. Yeah, no, you absolutely can. I mean, there's this like whole actions feature where you say, okay, when this happens, go and do all this other stuff. And I couldn't. It was very much one of those situations where when I did it, and it worked the first time, and it worked as I expected it to work. I'm like, whoa, that just saved me like 3 days of having to code all this up myself. Nah, maybe not 3 days, but
wouldn't you just tie into Laravel's event system at that point?
well,
Like, what? How's that? What is it? What's different here?
it's not super different. So what I'm using in Nova is called an observer. So when the observer hits, it does a bunch of stuff. So yeah, I could have probably done the event system, and it's funny you should say that because the client specifically said I would rather not use an event for this if possible. I'm not sure how an observer differentiates from an event, but
It doesn't.
well,
Yeah,
it doesn't say events. So. So I told him, I'm like, hey, no, I just implemented a observer.
I wonder why they didn't want to use an event for it, because we in the project I work on, we are just now getting into events, and I'm super excited. It's something I've wanted in this code base for years, and just trying to get by off, on a huge application is hard. And I don't have a ton of experience. I just know that I want to use that.
It's some senior level guy who had an event system before that was poorly implemented and caused some slowdown that he didn't like, and so now all event systems are that system. It's always how it goes.
Yeah, when it's done properly, there's so many benefits to using an event system, and I can't wait till I have full access to use it to do the things that I want to do. Because right now, within this code base, it's very procedural.
Mm-hmm.
Something happens, and you want to tie into it, you go into that method, and then you do more work, which is not the right response. It should be, hey, something happened, alert the rest of the system, and let whatever needs to do something do it. So, I'm still trying to figure out how the observer piece differs, and
Probably doesn't.
like Thomas said, I don't think it does.
Yeah, no, observers are just like a predefined set of events. They are really just events.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
They're events, but you have to wire everything up first versus just firing an event and then letting the container potentially auto wire up listeners for it, right? Or storing that event to be acted on in some other system.
When that event to be acted on some other system. I'm not sure I follow that.
So the way the observer works is within your app setup, your configuration, you have to predefine all of your observers and say, this is going to attach to this model or this class.
Yeah. So, but the events are already defined in the model.
Right.
So when you're creating an observer, you're really just creating listeners for a set of default events.
Yeah. So it's your create, update, delete events, and
right,
which work perfectly.
But during the bootstrap process, you're creating all of these classes that are doing the observing. If this happens, I need to be notified of it. You now have this object already created, where with an event system, I think, at least the way we're talking about doing it in this project, an event gets fired, you can have some sort of, your container can listen for that and then figure out what classes do I need to create that will respond to that. I hope I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah, and I believe that in PHP, that's how it works even for events. You just don't notice it. That all potential event listeners get loaded.
You mean for Laravel, because he's talking PHP.
Right.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, I'm talking about not in Laravel.
Right.
It would be more on the container when something happens than creating the objects to do the work for that event.
Yeah.
I tell you, the more coding I do, the more I missed coding. And like I can already feel myself fighting to pull myself out of coding again. It's been such an enjoyable couple months. I mean, granted, it's been the pandemic and all that stuff, but professionally, it's been stressful as well, losing money and losing clients. But for me personally, professionally, in my little world, I've been enjoying myself because I've been coding again. So there. And then, of course, we don't have a show last week, and I can't keep my big mouth shut, and I tweet about our
No kidding.
our little project. Man, I was so excited. We finally released, and it's, honestly, I would have talked about it sooner because it's nothing secretive. I mean, it's nothing like earth-shattering or anything we're expecting to like turn our company around to becoming this multi-billion-dollar company. It's just a cron monitoring system.
Just single billion, not multi-billion.
That's right. It's just 1 billion would be good. It's just a cron monitoring system. It's really funny how it got started. Typical. We were like, hey, we really need this sort of thing for our clients. Let's build one. And then that conversation turned into, well, let's build it into mission control. And then we decided to shelf mission control for now. Not put it in the deep freeze, but like put it to the side and made the decision to, okay, well, let's build this off to the side as its own service for just our clients. And then it's like, well, if we're building it for our clients, let's just build it for anybody who wants to use it. And then, so we've been tinkering away at this idea for a long time. We've really gave it a lot of focus over the last 6 to 8 months, maybe the last year, where we had people dedicated to coding on it. But within that time frame of not really finding any good solution out there that does this, to now I've heard like 3 or 4 people doing the exact same thing, the exact same product. It's like, well, damn it. But, we're so far along. We're basically, at this point, we're done. We're just dog fooding it. We brought a client on to it, and, we're using it for some critical jobs for them. So, we'll start implementing it for our internal clients and then decide. I think what we'll probably do, and I haven't really talked this over with John at all, but we'll probably just use it internally for internal clients and then wait for everybody else to release and try to get an idea of like pricing structures and then just undercut everybody. That's our game plan right now. We're just going to undercut everybody.
So you come here for the programming, you stay for the business acumen.
and that's another project. So that's one I can talk more freely about. But that's another project I've been getting in there, and kind of rethinking and my coding and how we're doing things. And God, man, I'm just enjoying it. Like John and I had to chase down an issue just this week where we figured out. We're trying to figure out where this problem, where we kept getting these false alerts, these false positive alerts, or false negative, I guess, that there was an issue when there wasn't an issue. And we figured, hey, you know what, I think we have a race condition here. And so we were trying to, tracking it down, and it looks like we fixed it because we haven't had a false positive alert in a while, but man, I'm so happy.
You had the one right away. Did you change the logic there?
Yeah, I'll explain to you later what I did. But yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I
Did you change the plus to a negative? Plus to a minus?
No.
Okay, we'll talk about it later.
That might actually work though. That might have been the issue now that I think about it. But yeah.
Yeah, we just turned off reporting and everything started working great.
Yeah, it's like testing. We just don't test, so they never fail. So the product is to make our customers feel happy and secure. We're not to really tell them when their cron jobs don't run. Just give them the sense that they're always running. It's not. That's not the product, but so it's out there. If you guys, let me bring it up. I can actually share my screen with you guys. This is awesome. This is awesome. It's out there. Oh, I need to log out because I don't. I mean, I'll show you guys the back end. I'm gonna. I can't. I got clients in here. I can't share this with you guys.
Well, I had a rough couple weeks.
Hold on, I'm not talking about you yet. What?
Yeah, let's hold off on sharing it.
I'm sharing the landing page. Argus.to.
Okay.
So yeah, argus.to. We've disabled registration and everything right now, so there's nothing there but a landing page. But you can kind of get a look and feel.
We need to set up an email registration. Like, hey, let me know when this is available.
I was just gonna say if you're interested, we'd send you codes, but we have to set that up too, like some sort of early access code system. Because I do want to get more people in there.
Or just a secret registration page.
Yeah.
We can send people to.
Do that. Okay, Tom, I'm sorry. You've had a rough I've been so happy and joyful. Baseball has started today. Baseball is going again. So there's that. But go ahead and bring us down.
Yay. Well, I've got a big new project that uses Vue. And turns out when you're switching over to a completely new system that you haven't implemented anything in before, you come up with unexpected issues. And just not knowing how to program in Vue caught me, I'll say, 50 times this week.
But that's how you learn. That's fine. You should be using Livewire and Alpine anyways. I'm just saying, Vue is overkill. Too much.
No.
You need to dial back the JavaScript, buddy. I'm trying to help you here, but go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, so that deployed today. Like, after all the testing for 2 weeks and everything, got it finally done, deployed it today. Didn't notice that I was on the wrong branch when I did a Git flow feature finish. And the wrong thing that I was working on got merged into master, and spent an hour trying to fix master and get everything happy again. And
I don't understand the Git flow piece. I really don't.
What? I did a whole presentation on Git flow.
he does understand. He's just being difficult.
I'm just saying. I have a client that insists on using Git flow. They never see the Git flow. Like, I don't know if when you do feature finish in the background, it does some weird rebasing, which is another topic we could talk about. Thank you very much, John Congdon. I don't know if it's doing some sort of weird rebasing or something and cleaning up the commits so that when I push it up to the repo, it looks clean. But like everything I do in Git flow is on my local machine, and the client never sees that. So I'm not sure why I'm doing it, but I do it because they asked me to do it, but I just don't see, I have not seen the benefit of it.
But the Git flow commands basically do the merging that you need done.
But does it do like a rebase?
Yeah, it's not like it doesn't.
It branches from the proper locations and merges back to
I know how to fucking do that. I don't need Git flow to do that to me.
It's not like it does a ton of stuff for you. It's a small tool.
So why am I using it?
It's like having a ratcheting wrench instead of a hand wrench.
I don't understand why I have it then, because again, if it was I kept telling it's not easier. I don't know what you're saying. There's nothing easier about it. If you tell me, oh yes, this squashes your commits, it rebases for you, it makes it clean, then I would say, yeah, that's easier. But no, I still have to commit. I still have to put my commit message in there. I still have to add everything to my commits. All it does is name my branches.
It names your branches, and it makes sure that it's keeping the branch logic in a tight, uniform manner. Like,
yeah, it has a specific structure for hot fixes, for features, for deployments.
All those features.
It's just.
Are you saying all it's doing is naming the branch? It needs to be doing more than that. I can name the branch.
It's naming the branch, and it's tracking the source of the branch. If it's a hotfix, it comes from master instead of develop. If it's a feature, it comes from develop.
See, this was another misconception I had, because I thought when I started using GitFlow, I wouldn't have to manually do a pull from upstream, or not upstream. I'm sorry, we don't use upstream. I wouldn't have to do a pull from the repo. I thought GitFlow was handling that for me, but it doesn't. I still have to manually pull down from the repo into my primary branch, and then start my GitFlow from there.
Well, I apologize for you not understanding GitFlow.
When you start using it for some of the other features like the hotfixes, it makes sure that your production or master branch and your develop branch are in sync properly. So when you open a hotfix to the master branch, it will also merge back into the develop branch, which you don't have to think about afterwards.
Are you sure about that?
It should. That's the whole point with GitFlow.
Okay, so maybe I do have a misunderstanding, because I thought when I did a feature finish, so in my head, I said, okay, this must be doing some sort of squashing or rebasing and cleaning up my commits, and then pushing up to the repo. And I found out 2 or 3 tickets later when the client said, hey, when are you going to get this other ticket done? I'm like, I did that last week. I realized, oh no, I still have to push to the repo. It doesn't automatically push the repo. I still have to push the repo, and oh, by the way, I have to pull from the repo to make sure my branches are current. I'm like, come on, man.
Correct.
Then I don't know what I'm not understanding about GitFlow.
So when you do a GitFlow feature finish, it takes your current branch, it merges it into develop. If the merge has conflicts, then it spins you off into a conflict resolution branch. You resolve your conflicts, and then commit it and finish it. That pushes it out to develop, and closes and deletes the feature branch. Doesn't push. I'm sorry, doesn't push.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so everything it does, it does locally, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And then you have to
closes the feature branch and switches you over to develop branch with the updated code base already committed and ready to push.
Which I can do that all by myself.
Are you not opening pull requests for features?
No.
Oh, yeah, that makes it tricky.
Oh, you don't open up pull requests either, Thomas?
No.
There must be a whole GitFlow mentality thing going on, because again, I continue to do it because the client asked me to do it, and occasionally I will do a GitFlow publish, which again just publishes your branch up to the repo, which again I can just do a git push and it would have the exact same behavior, but whatever.
Well, GitFlow also it forces some requirements like tagging releases and things like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then the hotfix thing is super helpful.
Yeah,
so when I first did it, when I gave the presentation, to me, it was Git with training wheels.
Yeah. I mean,
that's how I feel about it.
You have small scripts to do small things on your computer. It's just a set of small scripts to do small things in Git.
That doesn't do anything except the stuff you're already doing in Git. It's no different. That's what
programming is.
Me saying git flow start and giving a branch name is no different than me saying git checkout -b and giving a branch name. It's the exact same thing.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, because git flow checks that the develop branch is up to date.
No, it doesn't. That's my point. It doesn't do it. No, it didn't for me.
It checks if it's up to date. If it's not up to date, it tells you need to update develop.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
I'm sorry. That's when you finish. When you finish it, it checks for up to dateness. Either way. It's been a long week. It's not getting better.
And your view skills aren't up to snuff as you thought they were.
They are. It's just that I ended up having to implement view routing, and the way I implemented it didn't use the router to links. It just did some programmatic stuff, and I was double pushing routes.
So can I ask you a question?
By calling actions that pushed routes, it was bad.
Can I ask you a question? If you're using view routing, that kind of becomes the line in the sand for me. If you're using view routing, why or actually I'm making an assumption here because I haven't even asked yet, but if you're using view routing, why wouldn't you have the views piece be its own repo and not mix it with the back-end logic? Which I assume you did.
No, because the view routing is just for this one page that was originally just one page. Yeah.
Sorry, Sean.
You're impossible.
My buddy, who I thought was my friend, is trying to distract me in chat, but whatever.
I wasn't originally using view routing because this was just going to be one page. But they wanted to be able to do things on the page and refresh it and reflect what you had done.
You know, Livewire does that.
Which meant
just putting that out there, just so you know.
Yes.
There are other options, but go ahead.
So the whole system is eventually going to move to this direction. Although I think we're going to use React instead of Vue. But
you're a React. You're a React shop, right?
No, we're not officially any kind of JavaScript specific shop.
Okay, I thought I remember you saying you were a React shop in the past.
I think we're going to be soon.
Sorry, John.
If it makes you feel any better, Thomas, PhoneBurner does the same thing. There's it's not a single page application, but there are pages within their system that they're treating like a single page application. So they'll use the view router for that one component. And then move off if you switch pages from there.
Yeah.
Are you guys using Vue, John?
Yep.
Oh.
More and more. Every sprint is now adding more Vue components.
Have you guys
things are getting?
Have you guys heard about the good word of Livewire? Just wondering.
Almost nonstop lately.
Not a Laravel shop.
Yeah, that's right. You guys still aren't Laravel, are you? So, are you doing Vue stuff, John?
Yeah.
Yes, John. Tell us about the last 2 weeks for you.
Well, the last 2 weeks for me, I can tell you, PhoneBurner is hiring.
What, you quit?
Don't quit DiegoDev before he quits PhoneBurner.
I'm not quitting, but they might be hiring somebody to replace me. I don't know. That's possible. They're looking for a recommendation, so I could give a recommendation and then not have a job tomorrow.
Why? What did you break?
What day are we talking about?
No, the last 2 weeks have been good. Busy as ever. We've got new clients at DiegoDev. Things are going well there. Keeping everyone busy. Really super annoyed with Dusk in a sense. I wish Dusk is great, but it's so heavily test focused, and they
Which
say
one is
right in there.
That's Laravel Dusk.
That's the web scraper to make sure your application is working the way it should.
It was designed to take JavaScript in mind, so you can test mainly the front end stuff.
Oh, right. Yeah. That uses the Chrome driver.
Right, which is great. It's just so they specifically say do not use this in production. It is a test tool only, but I wanted it as a web scraping tool, and I had one of our developers go down that road of using Dusk, and for some reason he wrote the entire proof of concept that we were trying to write as a test instead of a feature because it is a testing framework. And once I saw that, I was like, no, that's not what I wanted. I wanted you to use Dusk if we could. I hadn't done enough research to find out if it was available outside of testing or not. So he did all this work, spent so many hours. Again, tried going down another road first when I originally said Dusk. Couldn't get it working that way, so he came back to Dusk, but then did it in the test suite instead of as a actual feature. So then I took it over, ripped out the pieces I could, got it somewhat working, and then gave it back to him saying, here's a big plate of spaghetti, sort it out.
So you would fire Frank, but he's our longest running Patreon.
Patreon. Thank you, Patreons. I don't even know if we have thank you, Patreons.
And it wasn't Frank, so I give him a break. But yeah, it's been a good 2 weeks. I took a couple of days off last week for vacation, took today off celebrating my kid's 4th birthday.
Oh yeah,
kayaking.
Let's talk about your couple days off vacation, John. So we've had several clients, years of clients now, including some very big projects, very long-running projects. I have worked with developers and seem to have set up a pretty stable release cycle for them. John swoops in on one of the new projects and says, hey, we're doing this all wrong. Do it this way. All the wheels fall off. And oh yeah, John's on vacation. I mean, it was like a series. It was like a comedy on television. John changes this workflow, which, to his defense, the developer's understanding of his changes and what he actually told him were completely out of sync, which frustrated me. But he comes in, asks the developers to change his workflow, goes on vacation. The very next, so this was like, so he's out of office Thursday, Friday. So the very next day is like Thursday. Actually, I think it was Friday. Friday, the client says, hey, I have a big meeting on Monday. This has to be in production. I have to show it to the client. And none of the developers can get anything into production because they've screwed up the branches and they can't get anything to merge. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. This can't be happening right now. But fortunately, we got through it. The developers figured it out. They got the production branch done. This new client is really happy with the progress we're making on his app. I'm happy with the progress we're making on his app. I'm actually really pleased.
Have they got their first bill yet?
Yes, but they're still happy. They have their first client could start paying them within 2 months of coding.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've turned around a very usable application for them very quickly.
And again, not to toot our own horn, but he totally let us do our workflow, which screwed up from a Git perspective. But we scoped an MVP. We said, this is all we're going to do for MVP. He's like, perfect. Give me that. Let me try to sell it. We did that. He went out and sold it. He says, okay, I sold it. Now I need this, this, and this. Scoped it, did it. I mean, the communication back and forth in workflow is working so well with this client. And it probably helps that a little bit that he's a developer, a little bit that he trusts us, that there's no, concerns there. But it's like such a good success story of, hey, I have this idea. Can you build it? Yeah, we'll build this much of it. This is the cheapest we can build it for you. Okay, just build this little piece and let me see if somebody wants to pay for it. Okay, build it. Yeah. Okay, I got people who want to pay for this, but they've asked for a couple more things. We can do that for you. Boom, 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 boom. And it's just slowly, growing and growing. And it's like, I'm really hoping this turns into a long-term contract with this client, because I like him, and just the success that he's had with it's just been very, very satisfying. I'm sorry, did you want to say
thank
that,
you
John?
Thank you for telling me about your week, John.
No, it's been good. The whole workflow thing, it's because I've learned a ton about Git in the past year, and I was like, with what I've learned, I don't like some of the things that were being done, and I was just trying to educate, share kind of what I've learned and change things a little bit, but not on our biggest project. That I've left alone. I don't interfere there outside of really requesting really good code review because I feel that's super important as well, and I need to do a better job of following up on that. But with this newer project, it's like, hey, I don't want to do a pull from upstream. I don't want to merge that way. Your feature branches should be your commits only, not including merge commits. So if you need something from upstream, it should be a rebase, not a merge.
Sure.
So getting people to understand that was my goal, and that's where things start falling off the rails.
Yeah.
And there's also the fact that we're using a dev, staging, production branch scheme, and there was confusion around, well, where am I merging to? What environment is what? And I think we finally got that dialed into, the workflow is similar to what we've done in the past using just staging and production. The develop environment is really just a place for you to push code that is always in flux. You can change it. You can put whatever you want out there so that you can test it. You can have the client go to our dev environment to test something as long as you let them know there's nothing guaranteed about this working. Like this environment could break at any moment.
You could refresh it. All sorts of things could happen.
But staging is the place where it could be. Staging is where you go to when your feature you feel is production ready, and you're ready for the client to test it in a production ready environment.
And you're ready for a code review as well. That's where the code reviews happen.
Yeah. Right. So it's just a change in terminology and a little bit of workflow.
So here's my thing with kind of bringing this all together here with Git flow, with rebasing, with squashing, with all that stuff. For me, on paper, yeah, I like what you're selling. It sounds good. For me, in practice, I don't have a use for it. In our big project where we follow the workflow that I implemented and everybody pulls and pushes, and yes, there's a shitload of commits in there. I'm willing to concede that, but it's never been a problem. We've never said, well, shoot, if we just didn't have so many commits, maybe we could revert this and fix it. We've never had that problem. So where I can appreciate...
Because you've never been able to do it.
No, we've never had a need to do it. We just don't have that problem. Where I appreciate how nice and tidy having a clean commit log is, but it's like having a nice and tidy, toy box in the basement closet. It's like, okay, it's great, it's nice and tidy down there, but it's not really useful ever, except for like these very weird edge cases. Everything else we've ever had to do, we've been able to do perfectly fine with just doing pulls and pushes and merging. It's just, I just haven't seen enough of the benefit. And maybe, I'm sure now that I've said this, the PHP gods will say, oh yeah, I'll show you where it's beneficial. And something will go totally squirrely tomorrow. But I just haven't seen enough benefit. And I've seen a lot of frustration from developers who try to follow these processes. And I don't know, it just doesn't.
It's frustration. It's frustration until you understand it.
Mm-hmm.
The hard part is in any sort of reverts. There's got to be issues when you try to revert a PR, or you do revert a PR that's already been pulled into somebody else's repo.
So let's talk about that. How does that change if you've rebased or anything like that? You're still having to revert a PR, which we've done many times in the past.
You just have
a
more linear
things.
Yeah, you have a more linear history of a specific feature.
Okay. I'm sure
Now,
it makes sense on paper. Go ahead.
Eric's system for things is trying out everything that's new and then going back to Vim.
I never actually leave Vim. That's the whole thing. It's like the Hawk.
Yeah.
I'm never not mad. I'm never not using Vim. I'm always using Vim. Yeah, Thomas, I wish, I don't want to be on a soapbox talking about how great Vim is. I really, honestly, to God, don't understand how you as a developer or how any developer doesn't use Vim. I wish you would sit there and watch me code for an hour and just see what I do with Vim. Not that I wanted to change your mind or anything, just so that you have an appreciation of why you...
I do.
I don't understand how you don't use Vim. It's like, how do you code where you have to type everything and move a mouse? It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense to me. It seems so...
It's my gamer lifestyle growing up that taught me how to use both hands well. It's that
I guess.
that hand dexterousness that I always told my mom was important.
Okay. Again, my goal in life is not to convert people over to Vim using. I just don't understand why developers especially don't use Vim, because it just seems so beneficial. But
well, you know who else had a bad week? Twitter.
that was last week, huh? That was last week. Yes, Twitter.
Yeah.
Do you understand what happened? Because I don't.
Yeah.
Has it come out what actually happened? Because I've heard the rumors of what might have been the case.
Yeah. So there are details that haven't come out. But it's generally accepted now that the great Twitter hack of 2020 was somebody getting access to internal tools that allowed you to post to anybody's account.
So that's a thing, huh?
What I heard was it was either that or somebody internally going rogue.
Yes. So it doesn't really, it's not clear who did it. The person, the theory that someone internally went rogue is based on some kind of blackmail-based scheme where an internal person was forced by a third party to do this. Either way, it was the dumbest scam anyone could fall for, and apparently they made $138,000 from it. So
I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised that's it.
Well, it was a really dumb scam.
No, I get it. Was it where they tweeted out, "Hey, you send $1,000 to this Bitcoin or some cryptocurrency address, and I'll send you $2,000."
Yes.
Yeah.
And
it's like,
come on.
You do have to be stupid to fall for that, because why wouldn't you just give $1,000 to the charity?
Yeah. No, it was real dumb. The interesting thing, though, is that Donald Trump's Twitter did not get compromised in this attack. And the statement from Twitter is that there is an extra layer of protection for very high profile accounts, which was something that I had assumed to already be the case for like the blue checkmark accounts or all accounts. Like there should have been some kind of basic end-to-end encryption methodology, which is the other thing. The DMs appear to have been completely open as well. So
really,
all of people's direct messages who were in the system could have been read by this person.
Oh, that's scary.
And well, the scariest thing that I've heard is that fundamentally the story doesn't make sense. This kind of hack, the sophistication level of this kind of hack does not lend itself to this kind of cheap Bitcoin scam. It's the two things don't make sense together. And that this looks far more like a government-sponsored attack with some sort of masquerading front end saying like, oh, yeah, it's a Bitcoin scam, sure. But the reality is they were doing something else nefarious in the background.
Mm.
Because, I mean, if you were able to get this kind of access to Twitter's internal system, would you go for a shitty Bitcoin scam?
I mean, if I didn't want to get caught, maybe, but you can't prove anything. Just saying.
Yeah.
And,
So
and
it's,
then
I mean,
you mentioned state-sponsored hacking. I know that came up in the news with Russia and China trying to take a shortcut to COVID vaccines. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, and
what-
people don't understand Russia's role in state-sponsored hacking, because what happened after the Cold War was Russia determined that they need an intellectual elite that is capable of technological warfare,
Mm-hmm.
and they established secondary schools around the entire country to teach their most capable students how to do hacking and espionage.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have a whole educated force that got the free education specifically focused on hacking and system interference. Like, they have a whole class of people who just do this for the government. And America decided to completely drop the ball on technology and not have schools for it whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So they're very, very sophisticated.
You're going to ask something, John?
No, I was just saying I didn't hear about what'd you say, Russia and China with the COVID vaccine.
Yeah. So they I mean, it's not even like a hoax or anything like that. I don't even hear anybody screaming that. The funny thing about it is they're so they know so much about it, the attempts, that they know that the Russian hackers who were trying to penetrate and get COVID vaccine information are the same hacker group that compromised the DNC servers. Like, to Thomas's point, that's how organized it is. That's how state-sponsored and focused it is. It's the same group. We know it's Russia. We know it's this group of hackers, and nobody's doing anything about it.
And that's the funny thing, is that we don't see hacking on this scale as an attack on our country. Like, if they shot a gun
Right.
at the border, we would say something. But outright attacks on our system of democracy, for some reason, we don't consider that warfare yet.
That's a good point.
It's bizarre to me.
I also, going back to the Twitter thing, I also heard that Twitter shut down anyone that had a blue check mark. They couldn't tweet for some amount of time while I guess they were trying to figure this out.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that hashtag trending. I'm like, I'm very confused. What's everybody talking about? Because I hadn't been made aware of the attack yet. So yeah, that was interesting. It was a fun day on Twitter. You actually got,
What was that? What was the hashtag?
I think it was blue check mark. Wasn't I think that's what it was. It was blue check mark or blue mark or something like that. It was fun.
Yeah, it's a weird situation. I was amazed that they have an internal tool that let them just tweet for somebody.
I mean, that's the alarming thing. So this is the thing I always try to tell my kids, and we had a discussion earlier this week with Edward Bernard. We did an interview with him on PHP Architect. That's right, Thomas. I worked in another cross promotion. I do it every week. Thank you. And
that's what you're good at.
And actually, in that interview, I cross-promoted us, and specifically you, Thomas, and talked about how often we discuss ethics in our field. And the thing I keep telling the kids is, I don't know what privacy you think you have, but as a developer, we are gods in this world. There's nothing you can do to a system we design that we can't circumventilate, or we can't figure out where you're posting from or get information about you. We have so much power in this world.
Not true for me.
I disagree with you, but go ahead.
For me, it's not true. I can tell you right now, if I wanted to see if somebody on my system has an account, I have very limited ways of doing that.
But
You just talked about how you accidentally pushed code into production.
But why do you have
You tell me
what
accidentally pushed
that
a
limited
back
view?
in-
That limited view, is that there by design? Is your limited view a division of responsibility? Because I find it hard to believe that if you
Yes.
Okay, well, division of responsibility is a different thing. As a developer, though, we have access to everything. I mean,
But this is the part where end-to-end
Somebody
encryption
has
comes into
access
play.
to it.
yes, you're right, John. Somebody.
Is with proper encryption protocols, you can make things extremely difficult to circumvent, even by developers who are in the system and have everything else.
But again,
and
we're talking about ethics, and we're talking about division of responsibility, and making sure this person can't see this database. But ultimately, to John's point, somebody has access to everything. I mean, everything in their world. So you might just have access to code. The DBAs might just have access to their database. But my point being, if I develop the next TikTok, and I'm the owner of TikTok, and I'm the developer of TikTok, anything within the TikTok ecosystem, I have access to. And I can code things, and I can put things in my code that gives me more information than you even realize you're giving me. And that's...
And the TikTok stuff this week has been dreadful, stupid. You may have noticed governments are banning TikTok or requesting people don't use it because it's collecting data and sending it to China.
India banned it outright. The U.S. is talking about banning it. I was just talking to my wife about this, about how everybody in our industry is talking about TikTok and everything.
Right, and not about Facebook.
Yeah.
Which is doing the exact same thing. It's just storing it on a server first and then selling it.
Exactly. And did you see?
Like,
you see Mark Zuckerberg? He forgot to put on his human face in Hawaii. His alien face was exposed. That was so bizarre.
Well, who would have thought that guy'd be weird?
Okay, I have a tight window tonight, unfortunately. We have some overlap in workloads here. But I did want to talk about one more story, and I hope one of you guys have more background on it. Did either one of you follow the conversation about Microsoft's support for PHP 8?
A little bit.
I did not.
So my very recursive knowledge of what's happening is that I guess it was nice of Microsoft to reach out to PHP internals and initiate this conversation. But I guess that Microsoft is, and I can share the, let me share the screen here. So I guess Microsoft just basically said, hey, just so you guys are aware, we're not going to officially support PHP 8 in Windows. And at first I thought this was a big deal, but as I read through the thread, my understanding of it is this is not really that big of a deal, what Microsoft is saying.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay, can you explain to me why it's not?
Basically, there was a Windows team that was compiling and distributing or releasing for distribution the Windows executables for PHP.
Mm-hmm.
And Windows, or the Microsoft team that did that, basically came out and said, hey, with PHP 8 coming out, we're going to end our work supporting this. We're not going to do the compiling and all that stuff for you. We have a tool set which we can give you guys, and someone else can take it over and deal with it, but it's not going to be our thing anymore.
Mm.
Which I understood to mean that Windows is going Linux.
Oh, is that what you read into?
I've been saying this. I've been saying this for a long time.
I've agreed with you. I've agreed with you.
And when Windows announced the next version of DirectX is not a numerical increase, it's just a plus or super, I knew that the next version of Windows is going to be a Linux-based operating system. Azure, Microsoft's distributed cloud system or cloud platform, is majority Linux right now.
Yes. And that actually happened before Microsoft started embracing Linux. Like, that was probably one of the things that Microsoft said, okay, we can't fight this anymore. We need to either, get on board with it and start to figure out a business, around it or not. Because
I believe 2 weeks ago I was discussing Proton, which is Valve's engine for running Windows games in Linux.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I had said that everything is great right now and runs really well, but when DirectX 12 becomes mandatory, it's going to be a problem. DirectX 12 is just not going to work that easily. I was totally wrong. New game came out last week and called Death Stranding. Not sure if you guys have heard of it. Big seller. And the day it came out, Microsoft released an update for Proton that supports DirectX 12. And it works great. So with Valve doing the work on gaming stuff, doing the collaboration that they need to do with ATI and NVIDIA, Microsoft can get out of the kernel game by switching over to Linux. Microsoft can say, you know what? We've got the consoles which can run Linux. We've got the desktops and laptops which can run Linux. We've got the servers which are running Linux.
Yeah, but their desktop is still dependent on their kernel. And that's their big selling point.
But they don't. But they can implement those server-side systems in LDAP just as easy as anything else. I'm telling you.
I mean,
Windows is going Linux.
I've been on board with that concept for a long time. I think that final hurdle is much further out there than anytime soon.
You would think
Microsoft is going to buy Ubuntu before it happens. Like, they're going to buy a distribution so that they can have control over it.
Very possibly.
When that happens, that's when I'll say, okay, the next desktop is going to be Linux.
Now, I can tell you that new versions of Docker for Windows and new support at the kernel level for Docker are coming out on a regular basis, too. So, like, the latest update from Microsoft included WSL2, which is designed for running Docker and containerized items. I mean, we're getting there fast. It's very interesting.
I tell you, man, I keep hearing people. So I misspoke about who had tweeted at me about getting a System 76 machine and how happy they were with Pop OS. And I think I said I thought it might have been Gishu, who it wasn't. And of course now I got called out on Twitter.
It was Eric Mann on our interview, wasn't it?
No, it was after. So this person thanked myself and Eric Mann, or mentioned myself and Eric Mann. Now I want to go back and look because I don't want to get his name wrong.
Dimitri
Gozis. That's it, Dimitri. So he had tweeted at myself and Eric Mann talking about how happy he is with his System 76 and Pop, and I misspoke and said I thought it was Gishu, who it wasn't, but now Gishu's, going the System 76 route, and he's happy with Pop OS. And I tell you, man, I have no reason or need to get another laptop, but damn it, I want another laptop. I want a System 76 laptop. So the only reason I can hold back right now is they don't have a USB-C powered laptop. They have laptops with USB-C. But when they get that USB-C powered one, I don't know. I don't know if I can resist anymore.
Now, to be clear here, Dimitri made it very clear that his Patreon money goes directly towards my Batman chair.
Yes.
That it does not go to Eric. It goes directly to me.
I'm such a bad person. I didn't even put him on the Patreon list.
Because he said that, of course.
Oh, I feel so bad. I feel so bad. He said, "Hey, I am going to become a Patreon because you do make me laugh." And then, joke's on you, I didn't put you on the list. So thank you.
Oh,
I got to get out. I've got to get to storage this week, and I've got to get the Patreon prizes out into the mail to people because I've been a terrible Patreon person and not doing that. I'm not that I'm not doing it.
I have to say that you've tried, but the storage place is closed because of COVID, and you're off the hook.
no.
There you go. There's the excuse right there.
Don't you guys have storage clients? Wouldn't they frown on such falsehoods?
No. Nope, we do
We
not.
do not have storage clients. Nope. But all right. Okay. Any other stories before we wrap this up? And for my Vim friends out there, I shared this in chat. But I actually own the domain usevimbitch.com, and it just redirects to vim.org. So next time somebody tries to get into an argument with you about whether Vim is good or not, just send them that link and
Yes.
like.
A word that Eric had explicitly decried 3 weeks ago.
That's true. I did say that, didn't I? I hate that word. I was young when I registered it. Did you hear what they're going to call the Washington Redskins football team this upcoming season?
The interim name, yeah, the Washington football team.
Washington football team. That's. I mean, it's not
So
wrong.
That's the actual name is the Washington football team?
Well, okay, so there's been a chain of events.
Yes, John.
For now. They had announced that they were changing their name and that they were currently exploring options. The problem is that they had announced this on a letterhead that they had already had, which said in big bold letters Redskins and had the Redskins logo on it.
They're also changing, yeah.
Right. So it was a little bit tone deaf that they were like apologizing for the use of the term Redskins and saying they were going to change it while having it take up, I don't know, an eighth of the page they were apologizing on. So they got in a little bit of trouble for that blindness and decided that they had to have something to make official communications with in the interim while they were changing names. So they're just going with the Washington football team.
But I mean, unless something happens fairly quickly, that's what they're going to go into the season with as well.
Yeah.
And they're just not going to have a logo. They're just going to have, like, I think Beck said they're going to just put the players' numbers on the helmet and not any logo or anything like that.
Yeah, I think they should have gone by the Washington interim team, so they could just be called the Twits.
They should just call themselves the Washington $ name here.
The Washington SQL vulnerabilities.
There you go, SQL injection. There you go.
Yes. It's good luck out there to the Washington drop tables.
I actually love that idea. That would be fantastic.
Don't forget the semicolon.
Yeah, the semicolon drop tables. That would be fantastic. I love that. All right.
Yes, it's an excellent catch from number 43. Test, 1, 2, 3. Emoji.
Okay, guys, it's getting hot in my office. I need to turn my fan back on, but I'll give you one more story if you guys want to give one more story. Okay, that's it. Good job.
Oh, I thought you were saying you had one more story.
I was going to say, do you got something for us?
No, I've been carrying the whole show. I was going to give you guys the opportunity to interject the story.
Like you've been carrying the whole show.
The PHP 8 feature freeze is coming up. I realized that I think I had reported the annotation syntax was changing to less than, greater than, but it turns out that is not happening. That vote failed.
It was amper is what it was.
So it's the ADATs is still ADAT is still the current use case for annotations in PHP 8. And it looks like that's going to make it all the way to the feature freeze.
But there's been another proposal on that.
The less than greater than was the initial implementation. Then they changed it to the AT-AT.
Right.
There was never.
Did they?
I didn't know there was some debate about changing it from AT-AT.
So there's been a new proposal for another convention. As a matter of fact, I think it was it Joe Ferguson that proposed it? Externals.io. I'm sure it's in there. But yes, there's been a new RFC open for another proposed syntax.
A couple. There's another syntax which is open square bracket at, which I guess reflects Java's style.
Yeah, that's the one I'm seeing right now. I know it's somebody I was familiar with who opened the RFC, and they basically said, well, I guess we should go ahead and have open the RFC to have a discussion or something.
Well, there was a Reddit thread called "The AT-AT is terrible. Are we sure we're okay with it?"
Mm-hmm.
And that was opened by Derek Rathens.
Joe Ferguson. I would be happy to author an RFC on replacing AT-AT with hash square brackets, but based on Larry's comment, it sounds like the weighted vote already solved this issue for us. So this I'm reading through externals, and that's from a day ago, but I'm pretty sure our RFC did get open.
I believe the square bracket at is the RFC that got open.
Right. I think it was authored by Joe, just based on this internals conversation that was going back and forth. Not that he's like really championing it or anything, just kind of making the conversation and putting it up for a vote more official.
Yep. So that's the latest in internals. Everything else is sort of calming down, awaiting the release process. So I believe most of the articles that say what's new in PHP 8 will still be correct when it actually comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's it. You put me on the spot, so that's what I came up with.
You had stuff in your Trello board. I mean, that's like not even one of the tickets you had in there. So
I've got some Webpack questions. I'm getting into like third-party libraries and stuff with Webpack, and I'm wondering like how do you include the theme for something in your Webpack?
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. So again, not to get on my high horse, but this is where freaking Tailwind has.
If you say Livewire, I swear to God.
No, Tailwind has really come into play because again, the way you do themes in Bootstrap, you create custom classes, and in Tailwind you don't. I mean, you can do that, but it's not really how you do it. You just kind of put everything, in the class, and it works so well, and it makes themes portable. So when you there's no.
Well, that's okay. So that's not the issue I'm running into, though. The issue I'm running into is that when I've got some new thing like data tables, and it wants me to use the data tables CSS. Is there some way to get that into a Webpack file where it goes to the CDN and fetches that and compiles it into one big...
I think you just have to do the npm. You just include it with your npm. You do an npm install and have it be part of your package list. It's just like Composer, right?
No, because you have to have a file that it outputs to.
No, when it compiles, it outputs to a file, but the stuff it's grabbing from, it's just... Again, I'm not a Webpack expert. I touch it as little as possible, but all the processing it does from its internal system.
Yeah. And that's my thing, is that this is a SAS issue, not necessarily a Webpack issue, and so that's why I didn't bring it up. Because I think it's pretty clear to me since I wrote that I just don't know SAS well enough. But I am trying to webpack all the things and bring my website down to 1 or 2 style sheets.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a daunting task going from 200 style sheets to 1.
Yeah, and it's weird. It's weird going the other direction too, because it's now that I use, and again, I copy and paste my Webpack code. I go out and say, okay, how do I do this in Webpack, and I paste it in there. I don't understand what's happening, but it spits out 2 files. It spits out a JavaScript file, and it spits a minimized JavaScript file, and I can make it spit out a cleaned up CSS file that pulls out any classes I'm not using, and I'm perfectly happy. And it's so clean, and I like it.
The biggest issue we currently have is we don't have a standardizing system from one page to the next. So we have a lot of reused class names that have different properties depending on the page. Yep. And I have to get our front end guys to move away from that. We shouldn't have a 250 kilobyte CSS file.
Absolutely. Yep, I agree. Yeah.
But we do.
And part of the problem is they probably don't use Vim and they don't use Tailwind. So have them use both those things and throw in a little live wire there, and life will be good.
That's getvimbitch.com. I'm sorry, usevimbitch.com. The B is capitalized.
You're capitalized. All right. I think that's going to do it. I think that's it for episode 199. Gentlemen, we've been doing this for over 4 years. Over 4 years now. I think we started back in 2016, which is when apparently we were the first horsemen of the apocalypse, because then Trump got elected, the pandemic hit. I mean, we were just the beginning of the end.
No politics.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry. Okay, that's it. Episode 189 is in the book.
It's not politics to say he's an asshole.
I'm your buddy, Eric.
I'm John.
I'm Tom.
Keep it ugly.
Keep it ugly.
Oh my god, I need to turn the fan on. Alright, I'm going to keep the stream going. Anybody wants to hang out with us, all 5 viewers?
Get a beer?
I'm stopping local.
Okay. Oh yeah, stop local. I'll turn music back on too while I turn my fan on. It's about 100 degrees in here.
What you got going on that you have to get out of here?
Beck actually started work. Oh. Hold on. Oh, okay. Beck actually started working. She had to work a little bit tonight. So she's actually sitting next to me doing her stuff, doing her thing.
Gotcha. Oh, you are hot. Your back is so sweaty.
I'm telling you, man. I'm not joking. It is boiling in here. We just turn on that little fan. It makes all the difference. It gets the air moving. But yeah, I'm sweating.
Just leave it on during the show. Can't hear that.
Dude, I hear it when I edit the show and it drives me nuts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it drives me absolutely nuts. So.
Cool.
Alright. So, Thomas, everything good with you, man? You seemed a little out of it at first, but you rallied back. I was happy.
Yeah, just stressful. Today's the day that we sent my daughter off to live with her biological father.
Here in San Diego? Or, well, on the coast?
Yeah. So, it was tough on my wife, and then we're sending my youngest son tomorrow for a week and a half.
Out here as well?
Yeah, it's been a long week, man. It did not help merging the wrong ticket in.
I still don't understand how you did that, but
so you'll get certain errors when you try to do a git switch branch if you have like uncommitted stuff or something like that. And I thought I was working on the branch that needed to get pushed out, and I just wasn't. I was working on a totally different branch and I didn't notice it.
I mean, don't you still have to open a PR to production or master, whatever you call your main branch now?
No.
They don't do code review. They just push.
Yeah, I'm the
Really?
code reviewer.
That's why I was saying you can push anything you want, so you have full access to everything. If you wanted somebody's search history, you could probably get it. If you wanted to redirect credit card payments into your personal bank account, I'm sure you could do it.
I mean, that's the thing, is that there's ways of making sure you can't do that.
So Thomas, if you want something,
If you take the user's password and generate a secure key off of it that only belongs in the session of the client, then everything can be encrypted in a way that is never in code or in database.
but that's again assuming you do it, right? My point being, as developers, we don't have to do that. As developers, I could store your password as plain text. You would never know that.
But
yeah,
Twitter
it's all around our ethics. It's all around our morality as developers on how well protected
and
people are.
liability.
Well, yeah, and that's always my point. Thomas, I've got something I need you to work on for me because I don't know what to do about it. And we saw a couple people complain about today. It's been an ongoing issue. But with this OBS, we are always getting out of sync with the stream, and our voice is getting out of sync. And I see, like, I'm sharing my screen with you guys now. You see the frames missed due to rendering number down here. We're at 16%. That's almost, that's 16%.
So, do you know what my surprise is for next week, right?
No, I have no idea.
No.
Telling us?
How would we know?
Because I've said it multiple times.
All you said was you have a surprise. You didn't tell us what it was.
Yeah, you never even hinted.
I'm getting my office.
What do you mean? And how is that a surprise for us? God damn it!
It's not for you. It's just a surprise for the podcast.
God damn it! I've been excited. I thought you were doing something for the podcast.
No, don't be excited.
What do you mean you're getting an office?
So my daughter moved out, and we're moving my son. We're moving my son downstairs, and we're repurposing his room into a full work office just for me.
Oh, that's nice. That's very beneficial.
Yeah.
So what does this have to do with 16% dropped?
So part of that
Right.
is taking my old computer and getting it hooked back up, and it's a 6-core Intel desktop, everything. So I could take OBS over with that system. Because what's happening is you're losing frames from CPU render times. I know for a fact that you're having CPU problems.
I'm wondering if there's a way to get OPS on the external GPU, though. See, that's what I think. That's what my issue is.
Well, I can check real quick.
I think if I can get OBS on the external GPU, I would hope that would resolve any rendering issues we have. Let's see.
Okay, so go to settings.
We're gonna do this live? Yeah, let's do it live. Why not? Yeah. See, right now, OBS is only in the internal.
I don't see your settings.
No, I'm looking at activity. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my GPU. Okay, settings. Yep, I'm there.
Show the advanced settings.
Okay.
I can't see your settings at all.
Hey, they can.
I don't tell you. Here, let me just share my screen with you guys.
Yeah, you're sharing the application on the screen.
Yeah, I am streaming it, so let me make sure I don't have anything I don't want shared. I don't think I do. All right, let me share my screen with you guys.
Oh man, we made a huge internal change to how our system works, and I fucking hate it.
All right. Can you see it now?
Yeah. So, first off, disable Mac OS X
I
vsync.
can't do anything, probably because I'm streaming, so it's all grayed out. I can't click anything.
Go to video, the video tab.
Yeah. It's video right there.
No. The tab, the full size
on the
tab.
left.
Yeah. Everything's grayed out. Nothing's let me change anything.
Yeah, but something should let you choose the GPU.
Well, let's go ahead and. I mean, we can stop streaming.
Hey, let's stop streaming. Hey,
Call.
thanks everybody.
Call it a night. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, you guys, we're trying
you,
to
our
fix the
patrons.
streaming for you guys, so we're not so out of sync next week. So, thanks for hanging out with us. Oh, now I can't